What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Sit Down Sports Edition. You know who it is. We're here with Andrew. Unfortunately, it's just not unfortunately, but it's just the two of us again. Billy came and went. Shout out to Billy. I know you watched the video. Billy, again, thank you so much for joining us last week. That was a lot of fun. Nice little change of pace. And you know what we're about to do? We're about to kind of dive into Week 14. We'll give you our picks as we go, and we'll dive in. I'm calling this week the week of the missed field goal or the week of the fumble, because both of those were prevalent.
Yeah.
My goodness. So let's dive in, man.
Let's hop in. We have Pats Rams on Thursday Night Football. That was Rams took that one pretty handily.
Both picked the Rams.
Yep.
Billy picked the Patriots. He did it for the loyalty, which I respect and appreciate. I feel like this game really went the way we thought it would. Like we had talked about when we talked about this game, if the Patriots can't establish that run game, they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
And Rams being as good as they are defensively, we pretty much knew that wasn't going to happen. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. The Rams said, listen, you're not running the football, and you can't pass.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are you going to do? And the scoreboard shows they couldn't do anything. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Rams just completely shut down the run, like you said. Yep. And that was kind of what we talked about last week. It was like, hey, Rams are really good at stopping the run. Patriots, all they do is run. And they don't really run well. It's just kind of their whole offense. So
it's just a lot of it. It's a lot of it.
So it's just kind of the way the game rolled at that point.
Yeah, agreed. And let me ask you this question, because I don't really think there's too much to talk about here. Why do you think the Patriots are so anti-air? Why do you think with Cam Newton they're so against the pass? Because it feels like Cam Newton has his moments where he can throw the football, but it almost seems like they don't even want to try it anymore. Like, it just seems like there are many of opportunities to throw the football.
I think they're not throwing the football because they don't have the talent to throw the football, if that makes any sense. Offensive line can't hold a pass block for their life. Cam's still a little rusty. He hasn't had that chance to kind of shake that off because he's on a team that's not really doing too hot. And they don't really have anyone to throw to.
Yeah.
So they really only have their young running backs and the stable of running backs that they have to try and make something happen. So I think that's why they rely so heavily on that. But I feel like to a point you have to try and mold a passing game. This is a passing league.
Yep.
You're not going to be a run-only team if you don't have a way to pass. If there's no threat of something else, then
you can just
you're going to
stack the box.
Right.
Of course, right. And I thought the one thing that was kind of interesting was, we go back to time of possession. The Rams only had the ball for about 3 more minutes than the Pats did. But the Rams put up 24 points and the Pats put up 3.
It's all about field position.
And it's pretty telling of, I was saying, offensive deficiencies.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
The Patriots are just so deficient. They're just depleted of talent, and that was, I think, the perfect example of why that happened. But let's go Buccaneers Vikings.
Yeah, sure. Let's do Buccaneers Vikings. We were talking about this one before the camera started rolling.
We both picked the Bucs, right?
We both did pick the Bucs. No, I picked Vikings.
Okay, I picked the Bucs.
Yeah. The Vikings played well outside of special teams.
Yeah. Oh,
and
man.
For the Bucs' talent, they didn't really play well at all. I feel like missed field goals kind of set the Bucs up in good field position to kind of punch some balls in
3 times.
But there were a lot of missed opportunities on the Bucs side of the ball where the Bucs were missing. Tom Brady was missing wide open receivers, overthrowing guys. He hit one guy on a deep pass, I believe that was Scotty Miller.
Yep. He was a dime.
That was probably his best pass of the day.
Absolutely.
But everything else just seemed very pedestrian. And for the amount of talent that they have, it's very discouraging that they look as bad as they do. The score is not telling of how well this game went.
No, I mean, you look at it, right? The Vikings, Dan Bailey, he left 10 points on the board, just him alone, right? He probably single-handedly lost that football game.
Right.
And I think the thing, kind of to double down on what you had said, Andrew, I think the thing that's most concerning, the Buccaneers had a bye week and they came back and looked the same, if not worse. than they did before the bye week. So it's like, were you guys playing golf or were you guys playing football? What were we doing in this bye week?
Right.
You had 2 weeks to analyze what was going on and try to make some corrections, and they just didn't do it.
Yep.
And, we had talked about this off camera. I'm coming to the unfortunate reality because I was high in the Bucs at the start of the season. I thought they were going to the Super Bowl. They're either a one and done playoff team or they're going second game and they lose.
Sure.
Or maybe they win a second game potentially, but there's no. I don't see them as any threat.
I don't see them making an
NFC.
AFC. I'm sorry, an NFC Championship game. I don't see them making it there. I barely see them making the divisional round, and it depends on who they play in the wild card, who they're gonna, if they can win and if they can't. Because again, if the Vikings have better special teams, that's a wild card team that probably on a different Sunday would beat the Bucs.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a very 50-50 toss-up in terms of how well each of them played, and that's not good when you're looking at going into this game a 7-5 team and a 5-7 team.
Right.
It's flop records.
And I think one of the things that was also kind of telling, you look at that Buccaneers defense. I don't think it's everything that people think it is. Myself included. I sort of have to check myself because I was high on that Buccaneers defense at the start of the season too. The first 5 games, they were the best defense statistically in the league.
Sure.
And you look at this game, the stats aren't telling because they just started the front run.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get a lead, that's the only time they feel confident to bring the dogs, right? If they don't have a lead, they don't send the dogs, and I think that's the power of the Buccaneers defense. When you pressure, when you put pressure on the quarterback consistently, that's when that defense functions at a high capacity. And the thing with me is that Dalvin Cook went 22 attempts, 102 yards, and 1 touchdown, 4.6 yards a carry. They're supposed to be the best defense run stopping in the league. They usually allow a runner to have 76 yards a game, and they let Dalvin Cook at 102. Yeah, that's not good. Even though it's a 32, 34 yard per carry discrepancy.
Sure.
Still, that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. I think when you look at the Bucs defense and their team as a whole, really, they're this kind of team where when the season goes on, the teams that are physical in December are the teams that are going to succeed.
Yep.
The Titans last year.
Yep.
You look at the Washington football team this year.
Sure.
Physical. You look at, even the Titans this year. The Browns, a very physical team. We'll talk more about them later.
You can even say the Steelers last year.
Year, right? Towards the end of the season,
Yeah.
I think they just barely missed the playoffs at that point. But that's quarterback issues. But anyway, the Bucs seem to have done the opposite. They were very physical, like you said, early in the season. One of the best run defenses in the NFL. Still a very good run defense, but they're getting worn down. They're tired. Their game plan on offense is worn down and tired. It's like it seems like a very lazy. I heard somebody say it this week. I can't remember who. Someone will know. Country club style team where they're just relaxed.
They kind of just show up and try
to
turn it on.
Right, exactly. And that's not. You can't do that in the NFL.
Yeah, that's not a good recipe there. No.
Not gonna work.
No.
And no one's gonna work harder than Tom Brady, but everyone else needs to work hard too.
Yeah, and that's it kind of feels like that's going on, doesn't it? It feels like Tom Brady's trying to bring that mentality from New England, and I just don't think people want to do it.
Yep.
They, like you had said, it feels like a country club football team, and it's I'm disappointed.
Not looking good.
Very disappointed.
Yeah. Top over to Broncos Panthers. That was also a 1:00 game on Sunday.
I picked the Panthers.
I picked the Broncos.
Picked the Broncos. And I'll tell you what, I felt good going through that last 3 minutes. I really thought the Panthers were going to kind of pull it out. What was it? Was it an interception?
It was an interception.
That's what I thought. A bad interception to kind of end the game there.
Yeah, the Broncos defense showed up and played well.
Huge. Huge.
And Drew Lock had probably the best game of his career.
Agreed.
This past Sunday. 4 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah.
And he's up for I think he's up for FedEx Air Player of the Week, which is great honor. One of the best quarterbacks in the league for a full week. God bless. Good job, Drew. If he can play like that on a consistent basis, that's the Drew Lock that we've been waiting for all season. And that's what we said we've been waiting for to say, okay, are the Broncos going to give up on Drew Lock this offseason, or are they going to let him ride? His agent's going to point to this game and say, look what he can be. But at the end of the day, who are the Panthers? A very young, inexperienced defense with very little talent, to be quite honest.
I would agree.
And you're going up against an offense that doesn't really have much going for it.
Very worrisome, yeah.
Right. They have some good receivers, good O-line, a good average quarterback, but that's about it.
Yep.
Running back is meh because Christian McCaffrey's out. Mike Davis is good. He's fine. Again, good. But a team like the Broncos should have been playing like this the whole time against defenses like that.
Agreed.
And they haven't done that this year. And now their defense is coming alive, playing physical. A little too late. They're one of the last teams in the AFC that is going to be eliminated from playoff contention. They haven't been yet, but they are right on that cusp at 5-8.
Yep.
If one of those 8-5 teams wins next week,
Pretty much over.
They will.
Yep.
It's over. They're eliminated.
Yep.
So there's hope, obviously, but I don't see it happening, obviously. But they need to start this way. The Broncos need to start off this way. They used to have the opposite problem, where they would start off quick, 4-0, 6-0, 5-0, and then all of a sudden they would go 8-8 towards the end of the season. So let's again. I feel like I'm a broken record. Let's carry this momentum over to the next season. Pray for people's ankles and ACLs and muscles and
just stay intact.
all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Stay intact. If we can get Cortland Sutton back, we can get Von Miller back. This team could be scary with consistent quarterback.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential. And again, you hit the nail on the head there where you said it's quarterback play. It's all going to come down to quarterback play. And I'll say this, even though Drew Lock statistically had a good game, if you really look at it in all actuality, he really didn't play that well.
I mean, if you watch it,
for his standards, statistically he played well.
Yes.
But let's look at his 2 touchdowns to KJ Hamler. Both of them wide open. One of them he almost underthrew him into a tackle or an interception. So it's like even on the open plays, he's still not making good passes. And yes, he made the plays where he needed to make when he needed to make them. Agreed. But they were very easy plays to make for the standard of the NFL.
And I'm going to give that to the offensive coordinator.
Sure.
Drawing up plays for KJ.
He called a great game.
Drawing up plays for KJ
He called
Hamler.
a great game.
KJ Hamler, I said it last week, I'm going to say it again. He's coming out. Is he Tyreek Hill?
He's a burner.
Probably not.
Yep.
Exactly.
He's a burner.
He's on that scale of like, hey, watch out. This guy, let's send this guy on a streak. Drew, we know you like to throw over the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Let's send the fastest guy on one-on-one coverage and hit him. And he did.
Yeah.
It's hard to overthrow a guy like KJ Hamler. You're gonna probably underthrow him more than you overthrow him because he's so fast. But you do have to kind of, sling it a little bit. That's what you gotta do. I think that's a little his personal reservations. He's like, I don't want to throw it too far.
Sure.
I don't want to miss. But then also don't throw into double coverage.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But good game for the Broncos. Panthers, again, this game went about how I thought it would. I think the Panthers put up more points than I thought they would. But I think that's also a field position battle. Brandon McManus missed a few extra points, I think, in this game. He made a tweet earlier saying, Brandon McManus sucks. And he goes, oops, thought that was from my burner account.
Yeah.
And it's true, he did kind of suck. But he's on the COVID reserve list right now, so the Broncos might have to go get a kicker or something this week. So we'll see how that goes.
All I'll say is just really quick about the Carolina Panthers. They can really string some things together. I just think they can't do it throughout the entirety of the football game. I think the thing with Carolina which killed them was actually that punt return. That the Broncos, was it a punt return or a kickoff return?
It was a punt return.
That punt return, you take away that punt return, you shut that down, you win this football game. You win the game.
Right.
It was a special teams play that in all actuality really lost you the game, and obviously that bad interception at the end of the game. But, it's one of those things you have to kind of risk it to get it in there. So, special teams, if they had made that play, it would have been a different ball game. But, it's the Carolina Panthers, if they can keep playing the way they're playing next year and maybe get a couple more pieces around them, maybe another wide receiver.
Yes.
Maybe a better secondary running back behind Christian McCaffrey.
Sure.
And maybe tighten up that secondary on defense.
Yes.
They could be very good.
Yep.
They could be very good. So
Absolutely.
I'm curious to see what happens with them in the future.
Not Matt LaFleur. Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
Guy from Baylor.
Yes. Whatever his name, doing a great job.
He is. I completely agree.
That team, you can tell they're playing with fire every single week.
Yep.
And I always look forward to watching the Panthers play.
And I think the thing with the Panthers is they don't leave it. They put it all out there every week, right? With the Panthers, you'll get maximum effort, and they're not going to leave anything out there. No. They're going to give you everything they got, and you can win with that. You can win with that. I'd much rather have it that way than the other way around.
Get some more talent around you, and you're looking, I think, very similar to the Saints, where you can tell, even win or lose, they're putting it all out there. And I think this is a very similarly coached.
Agreed.
We'll talk over to Cardinals Giants. This
was
one,
ugly.
This was a doozy. I'll tell you what happened here. Daniel Jones is back. First problem.
I think he's still hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Hamstring injuries. I'm surprised they kept playing him because they were doing well without him. So just let him rest and let him take his time. The Giants' defense did not know what to do with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, you'll see his stat line wasn't great. It wasn't fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 13 carries for like 40-something yards, something along those lines.
13 carries, 47 yards, 3.6 average.
Right, exactly. Nothing fantastic, especially from the quarterback position.
Right.
Usually you see those big runs come out. But the consistency of his carries, we talk about it all the time.
That's a lot of attempts. 13 carries. That's a lot for a quarterback.
We talk about it a lot with running backs, where you run the ball to set up the pass.
Yes.
Kyler kind of did that himself.
Yeah.
He ran the ball to set up the pass. He said, I'm going to keep running it even if it doesn't work. Whatever, fine. But you're always going to be thinking that I might be running.
Exactly.
It alleviates the pass rush, allows you to get better open throwing lanes and things of the sort. It spreads out the offensive line for a short guy like Kyler Murray. It makes those gaps between the O-linemen more meaningful.
Exactly right.
Hits those, and they played well. Cardinals defense, props to them. They finally played a good game, and they played against the 31st ranked offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
So good, but you got to show me more.
Exactly. And against a team that might be a little bit better than the Giants, right? I know we were talking about the Giants getting better and better every week. I feel like this is the first week that they actually regressed in terms of the progression of everything. Which, all things aside, it was bound to happen.
Sure.
This is the NFL. It's very rare you see a team actually get better every single week throughout a 17-game season.
They had a hell of a run.
Yes, they did. And, who's to say they don't come back next week and put on a show? It's very possible. I just think, all in all, I think the thing that really killed the Giants was the fact that offense couldn't do anything at all, so that defense was on the field 80% of the game.
Yep.
When you have your defense on the field more than your offense, they're going to give up points.
Right.
They're going to get tired.
The defense played as well as they could.
Absolutely.
26 points against the Cardinals, not bad at all, especially for how long you were on the field for. I'm going to get the time of possession battle on
I'm going to look for it right now.
But they were on the field for what felt like all game.
It was a 15-minute discrepancy.
And to only give up 26 points in that instance, that's crazy to me. And the offense needs to obviously pull up and do better.
And you look at the third down conversion percentage. Arizona was held to 38% third down conversion. That's pretty darn good.
Good defense.
Yeah,
that's a good defense.
That's pretty darn good.
Defense is not the issue there. I think they need to obviously having that whole Saquon Barkley is so hard. So hard to fill. Wayne Gallman is doing his darndest out there.
He's doing a darn good job. I really would say.
They need to get a healthy Daniel Jones on the field. Yeah. They need to get those receivers. I feel like he's throwing a lawn chairs at this point. It's very difficult to get the ball out to those receivers.
Sure.
Evan Ingram seems like the only viable target.
Yeah.
Him and Sterling Shepard, but even Sterling Shepard's looking a little suspect.
Yeah.
They need to shore up that offense. They can shore up that offense
and protect the football. They had 3 fumbles.
Right, exactly.
Protect the football.
Gotta protect the football. That's a killer one.
Yep.
They could be better next year.
Yeah.
I think
they will be better next year.
I think it's the Washington football's team's division to lose at this point.
I agree.
But I think that's kind of the lowdown of the Giants.
Yeah, agreed. And we both picked the Giants.
We did both pick the Giants.
So we both missed on that one. And
with this one we did not miss on.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Dolphins.
I'll tell you what.
Chiefs like to play with their food, huh?
The Chiefs are just a cheat code, bro. It's just so dumb. It's like, here's how stupid the Chiefs are. Patrick Mahomes just runs 30 yards back into a sack. It's 4th down and 41, and you're still thinking in your head like, hey, they could probably go for it and maybe convert this. That's how dumb that Chiefs that team is. Patrick Mahomes is a cheat code. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in football. Not even close.
No.
I would say the cheetah, what's his name? Tyreek Hill, arguably, if not the best receiver in football. Not because of hands, just because of talent and speed.
Sure.
And his ability to just.
If you consider everything he could do.
I think he's the best receiver in the game right now.
Because I think as an NFL fan base, we see receivers, top flight receivers, as 6'4", great hands, can high point a ball.
A DK Metcalf or
right, DK Metcalf, Julio Jones, even obviously Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitz, like DeAndre Hopkins. These are all guys who can just go up and snag it. Devontae Adams, you can do that too. But very rarely do you think of a 5'11".
Yeah. I don't even think he's 5'11", bro. I think he's shorter.
He's like 5'10"?
Yes.
Absolute burner.
Yeah.
He will make anybody look stupid. You can put 3 guys. You can put a guy on the line to chuck him, You can put a guy in the middle to follow him down the field, and you can put a safety over the top. He'll burn all 3 of them at the same time.
Easy.
He's just he has a cheat code. It feels like.
Yeah, he really is.
The Chiefs lost 30 yards on a sack, which is arguably an interception at that point after they fumbled it. And then Pat Mahomes threw 3 picks. That's arguably 4 turnovers. And they still won 33-27.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you get a team that can do that.
And they only scored a field goal in the 4th quarter, too.
This team is so bad in the 4th quarter. Usually, where like
they're getting
outscored.
They just get disinterested. They just get bored. They say, "I'm bored. Let's make it close."
They better start getting interested.
Yeah.
This team is obviously the most talented team in the NFL. They're obviously, if they played like a Panthers or like a Saints, where they're putting everything out on the field, which you can tell the games that they do.
Yep.
This team's a Super Bowl team, easy.
They are going to win the Super Bowl. Unless something tragic happens, they will win the Super Bowl. Because listen, it's the Kansas City Chiefs and everybody else. It's not even close.
Yeah, ever since they lost.
This is one of the first years I can really look at the entirety of the league and say, yeah, there's nobody that's even close to the team.
Mm-hmm.
The Kansas City Chiefs are in a league all their own. The only reason why they lose is if it's self-inflicted wounds. That's the only way they're going to lose. Other than that, they play their brand of football. Even, I would argue, even like what they did in Miami. Even though it wasn't the prettiest of football, they still played their brand of football and it got them a win.
Mm-hmm.
They can do that every single week like they've been doing. It's done. It's over. It's over. And that's why I said dynasty when I described this team. Because it's not even close. Not even close.
Dolphins are currently in the 7th spot in the playoff race, but they are tied with the Ravens. So pretty much safe to say I think the Dolphins might miss the playoffs and the Ravens will swap with them.
Yeah.
The AFC is so interesting to me, and we'll talk about it more later. But the AFC, one really good team is going to miss the playoffs.
Yep.
Because every division winner has earned a playoff spot.
Agreed.
All really good. And it's either the Colts, the Ravens, or the Dolphins. One of them is going to miss the playoffs.
Yep.
And the 3 of them are really good teams. I think the Colts are probably to me, the worst out of those 3. I think the Dolphins could take the Colts, honestly. They're just better coached. Sorry, not sorry. But one of those 3 teams is going to miss. And I don't think it's going to be the Ravens. I don't think it's going to be the Colts.
I don't either. Yeah, I do as well.
The Dolphins are going to miss it. And that's so frustrating because it's not like the NFC where some bobo team makes the playoffs out of NFC weakest and all that kind of stuff. But every team that's in that playoff push is
competitive.
Earning it.
Yeah.
Earning it. I'm very interested to see how the AFC
I am too.
go.
These playoffs are going to be
Because that
nuts.
first week of playoffs, because you're not going to see the Chiefs, the first week of those playoffs is going to be so interesting. Ooh. I hope the Steelers go against, I know I'm totally going off topic right now, but I hope the Steelers go against, the Browns or the Ravens, having one of those AFC North.
Yeah, just a bruiser.
I'm so excited to hear the playoffs. Let's hop over to Titans Jaguars.
Yeah.
This was not playoffs.
This is nasty.
We don't even talk much about this. This is exactly how it's supposed to go. Derrick Henry rushing 200 plus yards, 2 touchdowns for the 4th time in his career.
It's just nasty, bro. He averaged 8.3 a carry. That's just nasty.
Jaguars looked awful.
Oh.
Titans looked good.
I think that's really all we need to say.
Next.
Derrick Henry is he's a monster. He is a monster. Jacksonville Jaguars, y'all just rein it in, get a good draft pick, and let's move on to next year. That's all you can do at this point.
Let's hop over to Cowboys Bengals. This was a little bit of a surprise. We both picked the Bengals. No, you picked the Cowboys on this one. They didn't do you dirty.
Did I pick the Cowboys?
You did pick the Cowboys.
I feel like I might have switched.
How you might have switched?
I picked the Cowboys. I don't know. We'll have to go back and check the film.
But the Cowboys came out, and this is what I've been telling people all the time. People want to say the Cowboys are bad because they lost Dak. That's not true.
Nope.
Andy Dalton is not that far off talent-wise from Dak Prescott.
Agreed.
Breaking news. Dak ain't that good. But Cowboys finally played good, all-around, sound football. I want to say an immovable object reached an unstoppable force in terms of the defense, the Cowboys defense and the Bengals offense. But I more want to say air was pushed against air and air won.
Yeah.
It's just like, and it was like, oh, this air was more powerful. It just went right through it. Oh, wow. Yeah, the Cowboys defense played great against the Bengals offense because the Bengals just couldn't do anything.
No.
They didn't have Gio Bernard. They obviously don't have Joe Burrow. And Brandon Allen, I believe, is their quarterback right now.
He did the best he could.
He did.
27 for 36, 217 yards and a touchdown. He did the best he could. It was just this is the story of one team just being very depleted of certain pieces that they need in the Bengals,
right.
and then one team just playing like dog shit the whole year and having ample amount of talent and just not knowing what to do with it.
Exactly.
And for once,
they used it.
They actually used their talent and won a football game. So good on them. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean anything. You're not making the playoffs. It's over for you.
Yeah. They're 2 games behind the NFC.
I think they have like a 8% chance of winning their division.
Yeah, they would have
and that's the only way to make the playoffs.
They would have to win both of their games remaining. I'm sorry, the 3 of their games remaining, and the football team would have to lose out, and the Giants would have to lose 2 or 3. So
not going to happen.
Right, exactly. And then even then, you're talking about tiebreaker scenarios.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make any sense. So I mean, the Cowboys they need. You're not supposed to fire your head coach after his first season, but you might want to consider it.
Oof,
That's
tough.
why I'm frustrated, because this team is good talent wise. Before the season, before all the injuries, before everything going on, this team talent wise, people were comparing to the Saints. It's not quite, obviously it's not that, but in terms of pre-injury talent, they have 3 great receivers: Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb. Wow, what a gift. You have Dak Prescott, who could be a Pro Bowl quarterback.
You have a really good offensive line. A lot of them injured.
Really good offensive, right, barring injuries. Pro Bowl offensive line across the board.
Really good running back.
All pro running back. The defense had some good internal pieces. You still have Aldon Smith. You had Sean Lee. You have all these players that were, I don't know, I think maybe Sean Lee retired after he got hurt.
I'm not sure.
Something like that happened. I don't know. Of course, they need to round out that secondary, but every team has a weakness. This team was talented across the board before injuries. Injuries hit, those talented pieces couldn't carry the roster. Not to mention your head coach is bad.
I'll say this, I'm starting. The more I watch the Cowboys, the less I think it's a head coaching thing. Because if you look, Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy, both very similar in terms of the output of the football team. What if Jerry Jones has too much power in that organization? And he's the one screwing with that organization.
So here's the thing: Jerry Jones hires the same type of head coach.
One that's passive, that's going to do what he says. Yep.
Submissive.
And that's
the last time
I think that's a problem.
The last time they had a head coach that did anything well.
What they do?
Jimmy Johnson.
And what they do?
And they fired him after he won, 3 Super Bowls?
Exactly my point. After they won Super Bowls.
Because Jimmy Johnson got on Jerry Jones' bad side.
His mom and raised no.
Exactly. The last guy that they had that was a really hard-nosed guy was Bill Parcells, and the Cowboys were pretty hard-nosed. They did well with Bill Parcells. They made the playoffs 2 times. Tony Romo botched a snap against the Seahawks. Sorry, bud. But a lot better broadcaster than he was a quarterback. Sorry about that.
Hey, I would agree.
But the Cowboys could be good next year. Jerry Jones needs to get out of his own way.
I'm really starting to think it's Jerry Jones.
Yeah. I think
I really do.
He hires every team. If they have good talent and they're not performing well, it comes down to leadership. If it's not the head coach, it's somebody else.
Sure. Exactly right. Yep.
Speaking of head coaching issues, let's hop over to the Texans and the Bears.
Poor Deshaun Watson. But we talked about this on Tuesday last week. It's just so sad to watch that dude back there just getting absolutely killed.
Yeah.
He literally, there was one play where he went down, and I was like, bro, just stay down. Just stay out of the football game. You're too talented, you're too good to get killed by the Chicago Bears. Just get out of the game, please.
Yeah.
The Texans are so bad offensively. And granted, all of the wide receivers are hurt. Will Fuller was out. Brandon Cooks was out. I think one of the tight ends was out. So Deshaun Watson had no.
Not to mention that O-line is bad.
And their running back was out as well. So they had literally, it was Deshaun Watson in an orange, a pear, and an apple back there. That was all he had.
A partridge and pear tree.
That was it. So he was playing with house money at that point. And I'll tell you what though, the Bears, and actually I put no stock in the Bears winning the way they did. They won against a high school team. It was like there's just
it's not the
there.
Texans' fault either. And again, like I said, they don't have head coach. They're running on Romeo Crennel, who is the oldest head coach in NFL history.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to be head coach, and I promise.
Yeah.
Bears fans are mad at this win because they want Matt Nagy to get fired. And he just won 36-7.
I don't know if he should though. I don't
think so either.
Yeah.
But I think the Bears fans are desperate for a change, so they want something to change.
The Bears fans need to be desperate for a quarterback.
I agree with you.
That's what they need to be desperate for, because the defense is there. They need a receiver. They need a receiver, and they need quarterback
Mitch
play.
Trubisky's agent is going to point to this game and say, "Wow, my quarterback played better than Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson this week." And they were also drafted in the same draft. Maybe you should give him an extension, or maybe you should give him some contract. Blah, blah, blah. And the Bears, stupid enough as they are, probably give him more money, let Nick Foles walk, and pick up Mike Glennon again as their backup quarterback and pay him way too much money. The Bears are confusing. They're shot though. I mean, they're 6-7, same as the Vikings, and neither team really looks great. So
No.
The NFC, I'll take this time to talk about the NFC playoff picture a little bit. It's pretty much set.
I would agree, yeah. I think it's more or less locked in.
The Vikings and the Bears are on the outside looking in, and the Cardinals are up by a game. So the Cardinals are 7-6, and then the Bears and Vikings are 6-7. But the Cardinals, I believe, the rest of their schedule, they should be able to just kind of squeak out into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And make that work. And then obviously all division winners deserve it, maybe other than the Washington football team. But by the end of the season, the Washington football team might look like,
I was about to say, watch out for them.
Exactly. But I mean, there are people who watch records. When I was a kid, when I would watch power rankings, I would be like, well, this team's record's better than this team. Why do you have this team higher than that? And then now that I grow up and I'm an adult now, I kind of understand how that works. But some people never grow out of that, so they don't understand how that works.
Yeah.
Because the Washington football team is the hottest team in football right now, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that.
They're scary.
We'll talk about it later. They won 4 in a row. We'll talk about their latest win in just a minute. But let's hop over to Jets Seahawks. Seahawks are good. Jets are bad.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's move on.
Jeff, congratulations. I officially believe that you locked in the first pick in the NFL draft coming up in 2021, so congratulations. Don't be surprised if Trevor Lawrence stays in school. That would be hilarious.
They'll get
if that
Justin
happened.
Fields. They'll either take Justin Fields. Listen, any other draft, Justin Fields is the #1 pick anyway.
Sure.
So if Trevor Lawrence decides to stay in college, which I kind of recommend he does, because the Jets are a cancer of an organization.
Oof.
Justin Fields is a good quarterback as well.
Hopefully
he doesn't end up like a Geno Smith.
Yeah.
That's my only concern.
That's a fear.
Let's hop over to Colts Raiders.
Oh, real quick.
We picked the Seahawks. We picked the Texans.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we picked the Titans. We kind of missed a couple. We picked the Texans, and we both picked the Seahawks. And now we're going to Colts Raiders.
Colts Raiders.
I picked the Colts.
I also picked the Colts. I picked the Raiders at first, but then you convinced me because the Colts defense is really good, and the Raiders defense is really bad.
Yes.
And usually when you're talking about defenses, whoever's got the better defense is probably going to win the football game, especially when these offenses are so similar in terms of talent. I would say Raiders have the edge at quarterback. Colts have the edge at receiver, maybe a little bit. They have the edge on running back because Josh Jacobs was kind of hobbling across the field today.
Indianapolis, those running backs for the Colts had a field day.
Yes.
Jonathan Taylor, 20 attempts, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He's crazy.
Averaging 7.5 a carry. Naheem Hines, 7 attempts, 58 yards, 8.3 average. They ran all over those boys.
When you don't need Phillip Rivers to throw the football, that's when you win a football game. Because Phillip Rivers is not at the stage in his career anymore where he can carry the team on his back. Against defense like the Raiders, you probably could have.
Sure.
But, Phillip Rivers played well.
Yeah.
And even the Raiders' offense didn't play poorly. They played well against a Colts defense that's pretty stout, if you ask me. 27 points is not bad, but when your defense gives up 44, you're going to get in some trouble.
Yeah, when you throw 2 interceptions as Derek Carr, that'll put you in some trouble as well.
Sure.
And if we look at the,
I think those are desperation attempts, though. You know what I mean? Because at those points in the game, I don't know exactly when they were thrown, but I can imagine at those points in the game, they're down 2-3 scores, and it's not really the offense's fault that they're down by that much.
No.
So then he's trying to just sling, he's trying to make it happen. He's trying to hit Henry Ruggs deep, make those big plays happen. They need more receivers on that team. They really do.
Agreed.
When Hunter Renfrow is your second or third guy,
that's a bit sketchy. Yeah, it's a bit sketchy. I'll say this, turnover battle, right? Indianapolis had 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
The Las Vegas Raiders had 1 fumble lost, and they had 2 interceptions thrown. And you look at penalties, 6 penalties to Indianapolis is 6, but if I remember correctly, I think the Las Vegas Raiders had more taxing penalties in terms of yardage.
Yes.
So you combine those 3 things. Those are 3 categories you don't want to lead a game in. Yeah, and mistakes will kill you. Mistakes will kill you, and I think that was one of the things that kind of made this game go the way it did.
The Raiders are continuing to collapse. What do you think's next for them?
Yeah.
They're not making the playoffs this year.
No, they're not. I think that was done 2 weeks ago. I think. I think they go I said last week. I think they go 8-8, and I think they're in the same exact position they were the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to ask yourself the question. What is our problem, right? Is it quarterback? Is it defense? Is it head coach? Is it general manager? What are our problems? Because we have to change something. We can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Doesn't work like that.
Right.
So
last year they were a team that was, beating good teams too.
Surging.
They did it this year.
Yeah.
They beat some good teams, but now towards the end of the season, they're falling apart again.
Yeah, that's the thing.
At the same point too.
How do
Almost
you-
the same exact point.
Yeah. How do you beat the Chiefs and then lose to the Colts?
How do you beat the Chiefs and almost lose to the Jets?
Right.
Best team, worst team, easy. It's a very confusing formula,
Very.
and I want again. They're like the Falcons of a full season, where they had them in the first half, and then the second half was just whatever. You had a 28-3 lead, and then all of a sudden you're missing the playoffs.
Thank you, Falcons.
Thank you, Falcons. Let's hop over to the Washington football team and the 49ers. I think this was the game where everyone looked at them. And of course, they beat the Steelers, but I think everyone was like, it might be a fluke, whatever. They consistently, again, put down the 49ers. Put them down.
That
15 points. I don't care if you got a JV football team playing out there. That is great football on the defensive side of the ball. Chase Young is playing lights out right now.
he's so good.
Every single I heard someone say he's what the
Jadeveon Clowney should have been.
Exactly, he's what
Yep.
Jadeveon Clowney should have been. Where when you drafted Jadeveon Clowney, this is what you expected. And
He's so
Chase
good.
Young, and that's just a piece of probably the best defense in football.
He's rookie of the year in my opinion. Chase Young.
I think he got off to too late of a start.
Oh, I don't know. If you
he's-
look at the stats throughout the season, bro, he's been pretty consistent.
You think so?
I know so. I just looked it up earlier
Oh, did
today.
you?
Yes.
All right, well, cake's on my
And
face.
he's only been getting better. We'll see though.
Yeah.
We'll see. The story of this game, that Washington defense is ridiculous.
Mhm.
I would honestly say, based off of what I've been seeing from that Washington defense, if they can continue to improve and get better, that's the best defense in football.
It is the best defense in football.
That is the best defense in football.
Yeah.
They are, every time you need to stop, they get one.
Yep.
Every time you need a turnover, you get one.
Mhm.
Every time you need to put points on the board, they'll do it for you.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous.
This offense,
It's ridiculous.
This offense needs to be careful though, because they need to be careful. And I know they didn't have Antonio Gibson this week,
Mhm.
which is a big hit. They haven't
Yes,
had
it
it the
is.
past 2 weeks, but they beat 2 pretty good teams. I mean, the Niners have a good defense. It's not a slouch.
Mm-hmm.
And they still were able to put up 23 points and outscore the
Yeah.
Niners. So once Antonio Gibson gets back, this team can start relying on the run again. And then Alex Smith can be a complementary quarterback, which
Yep.
he's better at being anyway.
Yep.
And this team will be dangerous.
Washington needs to be better on third down.
Yep.
They had a 20% third down percentage conversion. That's not good.
No, it's not. And we talked about it last week where if you don't have a running game, you're gonna mess up on third down.
Yes.
You're gonna have low because your third and shorts are now third and longs, and that makes it infinitely more difficult.
Exactly
those
right.
first
And again, time of possession, another thing helps the run game, right? Washington won the game 23-15, but they lost the time of possession battle by 7 minutes. That's big.
And especially in a tight game like that.
Yeah.
A defensive battle.
Yeah, that's huge. So
Yeah.
it's
If they can figure out their offense, again, get Antonio Gibson back. J.D. McKissick is good, but he's not Antonio Gibson.
I don't even say you have to figure it out. Just keep doing what you've been doing.
Right, exactly.
Just keep doing what you've been doing.
Right, but
It's enough.
When you play against teams with a better offense, who's gonna, I don't care how good the defense is, you're gonna probably give up 20 points.
Sure,
At some point.
most likely.
Then your offense needs to kind of pick up the slack a little bit.
Sure.
So again, don't get complicit, which this team is not.
No.
This team is the opposite of complicit.
They
They will work out
after
those
it.
kinks,
Oh,
and they will
yeah.
get in the film room, and they will work out on the practice field this week.
Yep.
Well, let's hop over to Saints Eagles.
We both picked the football team too.
Yes, we both did
Yep.
pick Washington. Let's hop over to Saints Eagles. This was a bit of a surprise, but when you look at it in retrospect, it's not
This is a trap game.
terribly surprising.
This is a trap game.
Exactly.
This really wasn't. And the Saints. I think Taysom Hill is. I think Sean. Here's my big takeaway from the game. Number one, kudos to what's the quarterback for the Eagles? Jalen Hurts. Good job, Jalen Hurts, man.
Yeah, good job.
Wait, he was very decisive. He took one read. If it's not there, I'm running. One read. If it's not there, I'm gone. I like it. It's good. Carson Wentz should take notes. Honestly, he should take notes. And then I think for the Saints, the only reason why they lost this football game, it wasn't Jalen Hurts. It was Sean Payton's ego. And I'll tell you why. Because he's trying to prove to the league that Taysom Hill is a pocket passer. No. He is a utility knife. When they were letting him run the football, when they were letting him have designed quarterback runs, occasionally throw the football, play action, things of that nature, he lights it up. But when you have to take a 6-step drop or 7-step drop and try to be a pocket passer, you don't get it done. That's not the kind of guy he is.
There's a few things about this game that I love. The Saints were a little confusing to me. Like you were saying, when you have a guy like Taysom Hill, use him the way he's supposed to be used. But then also, you have a guy like Alvin Kamara, and you have a guy like Taysom Hill. Use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
Hand the ball off to Alvin Kamara, and then all of a sudden play action to Alvin Kamara and send Taysom Hill loose. He can either throw it or he can run. You give him 2 options. And then you give the defense like 7 things they got to cover because you got good receiver talent as well.
Yep.
So just make that work the way you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the end of the day, the Saints defense was thrown for a loop by Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, agreed.
Because
There's no film.
They had no film.
Yeah.
They had no idea what to expect.
There's
You
no
want to know
film.
why I know they didn't have anything? They didn't know what to expect? Because the Eagles didn't know what to expect from Jalen Hurts either.
Yep.
And they had a good game plan, like you said. First read, you don't see it, get out. Because
Yep.
chances are some of the other receivers are doo-doo anyway, so you're not going to be able to hit
Exactly
them anyway.
right.
So just go.
One read, run.
And he made it work. He had
Yeah.
over 100 yards rushing.
Yep.
He made it happen. Good on Jalen Hurts. When you look at starting quarterbacks, and I was listening to someone again this week, I believe it was Colin Cowherd. So if you guys listen to Colin Cowherd, you're about to hear the same thing, just because I love what he said. He said, Jalen Hurts, don't get on the Monday morning hype train on Jalen Hurts. He's not revolutionary. He's not going to change the NFL. He's not some big new star that's going to take over the world or anything like that.
There's no film.
Not yet, at least.
No.
When you have a rookie quarterback, your first step to identifying how good your rookie quarterback is can he win a game? Jalen Hurts showed he can win a game. Good job, Jalen Hurts. You did it. Now, can he win multiple games?
Right.
We will see. And then you get to the next stage. Can he win a playoff game? And that's when you kind of like go into your tiers of young
It's a progression,
quarterbacks.
of course.
Right. Lamar Jackson's proven he can win games and he can win multiple. But can he win a playoff game? Not yet.
Nope.
He hasn't shown he can done that.
Sure.
He hasn't shown he can do that yet. Baker Mayfield, he's shown he can win games. He's shown he can win multiple. Can he win a playoff game? Not sure.
yet.
He hasn't been there yet.
Yeah.
So we got to see. Patrick Mahomes, can he win games? Yes. Can he win multiple? Yes. Can he win playoff games? Absolutely. Well, you got yourself a freaking winner there, buddy.
Yes, exactly right.
So this is what you have to look for in quarterbacks, and Jalen Hurts is on the very first step of launching his NFL career.
Mhm.
Can you win a game? Yep. Can you win more than one? It's yet to be seen.
I'm very curious to see how he progresses.
Absolutely.
Very curious. They announced him the starter for next week, so I'm very interested to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see it if Jalen Hurts continues to play well, you're going to see a different tune from Philadelphia, where they
boy.
said, nope, this is Carson Wentz's job. Don't worry about it. Carson's going to be our starter next year. We're just seeing how good Jalen Hurts is.
We'll see.
If Jalen keeps winning, and
We'll
if
see.
he somehow pulls out a playoff berth for the Eagles because they're in a better spot than the Cowboys are,
Yeah.
watch out.
We'll see.
All right, let's hop over to Falcons Chargers, the team of two, the game of two teams who can't hold lead.
Oh,
Something
my
had to give.
goodness.
This was ugly. I didn't like it.
Terrible.
I barely watched it.
Yeah.
I had to save my eyeballs.
Matt Ryan is abysmal. She's bad.
It's very strange.
21 for 32, 224 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions.
And this is the type
brutal.
of game you should be throwing 3 picks.
Not against the Chargers.
And part of me wants to blame Todd Gurley too, because the Falcons know they can't run the ball because he's just the most mediocre running back in the league right now. He's the most boring running back to watch in the NFL. So when you can't hand the ball off to Todd Gurley, you have to throw the ball all the time. But to only put up 17 points, great completion percentage, 21 of 30, good job, good yardage. But there were just, again, 3 plays. 3 of those incompletions, you threw to the wrong team, buddy. And you got good receivers. It's not for a lack of talent. So I'm not really sure what the disconnect is. I think the Falcons have to move on from Matt Ryan at the end of this year.
Yep.
And again,
there's no other choice.
It's a similar Matt Stafford situation where it's not Matt Ryan's fault his team is bad.
It's just time to reset.
It's time to reset.
Yep, you have to.
Exactly. It's getting stale. It's getting old. You need something new. You need to change. He is a league MVP, but to a point, you have to just you gotta separate yourself.
And that's it.
You gotta do what the Panthers did. They got rid of Cam. They had to get it changed. They have to change some stuff up. I think we think the Lions have to do it, and we think the Falcons have to do it too.
Agreed. Yep. And this is funny because it's about time the Chargers actually won a close football game that came down to the wire. So congratulations.
Yeah,
obviously, it wasn't the win you wanted to have, but a win is a win in the NFL.
That's it.
And I really don't think there's much more than you said about that one.
Let's not go over Packers Lions. This one was closer than it needed to be, but when you were watching this game, Packers won 31-24.
It never felt as close as that score.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
It never felt like the Lions were ever in
were
striking distance.
The Packers always felt like they had the game under control. Just always putting, like, the Lions score, all right, Packers put up 1 more.
Yep.
Lions score, all right, Packers put up 1 more. It just felt very like, and as you're the Lions, you're like, come on, dude, like somebody do something. But again, that Lions defense is bad. Oof. So the Packers pretty much could score at will.
Yep. And they did that. And that's exactly what they did.
And the Packers at this point in the season are very dangerous because they're healthy. They are a healthy Packers team. They have Alan Lazard. They have Devontae Adams. They have Aaron Jones. Aaron Rodgers is obviously healthy. That O-line's looking good. The defense is playing sufficient. And the Packers clinched playoff berth this week. Good on the Packers. Expect nothing less.
Nope.
And since the Saints lost, they are now the #1 seed in the NFC.
That's right.
So that's gonna be a fight towards the end of the season. I know the Saints don't want to rush Drew Brees back, but you might want to rush Drew Brees back.
Yeah. Because they're gonna the Saints. I said
now
this.
You got film on Taysom Hill.
I said this at the last week. Don't get caught up with the Saints. They're good. They're not that good. I don't see them making a push to the Super Bowl. I just don't see it. They strike me as the same team they've been the past 3 years, where they get close and something happens. Crazy things happen to them, but this is football. Listen, that PI play. Okay, great. Yeah, that was an awful call, but y'all still had 2 more possessions to score the football. That's on you.
Sure.
You can say everything you want, of course, and I just feel like they just love to cling on to an excuse to justify why they suck.
Yeah, and if the Packers and Saints, well, the NFC is very good, but if the Packers and Saints end up versing each other in that NFC Championship game, it's gonna be very strange because they're both teams that tend to blow at the playoffs.
Yeah.
So again, something's got to give at that point, but I'm expecting the Saints to blow it a little earlier than to make that game. Depending on how they look when Drew Brees gets back, they are going to have to fight for that first round bye because they're going to need it.
Yes. Well, I think any team in the NFC could use that first round bye.
Yeah.
Any of them.
Because there are some teams that they don't want to bye. They want to keep playing. They want to keep going. The Ravens last year probably could have been one of those teams that didn't want to bye. You want to keep playing. You want to keep going.
Yep.
Patriots are the opposite. They wanted to bye last year. Packers and Saints both want that bye.
Yep.
Both veteran quarterbacks who know how to rally their football teams. They need that bye. Tampa probably needs that bye. They're not going to get it, obviously. They're way out there.
No chance.
But the rest of those teams, they want to play that wild card week. So it's going to be very interesting to see the NFC playoff push towards the end. Now the last 2 games is both, honestly, playoff games that were really fun to watch.
We both picked the Packers, by the way.
We did both pick the
and the Chargers, and we both picked the Saints. Sorry, guys. I apologize.
We're just off on that. That's my bad. I'm moving quick. Bills, Steelers. We both picked the Bills on this one.
And not Andrew. Billy picked the Steelers.
Billy did pick the Steelers.
Hold that L, big fella.
Hold that L, big fella.
Yeah.
Good thing there ain't any Chick-fil-A up there because you ain't getting
that.
Facts. The Bills, exposed another weakness of the Steelers, and that's their secondary. And their offense.
Josh Allen slinging that ball.
Josh Allen.
Slinging that thing.
Josh Allen right now.
And see, this is what I was talking about when we talked about him last week. I said, Josh Allen, just give me something like this every week. And the Bills are very dangerous. He didn't do anything crazy. 24 for 33, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That's not a crazy stat line. But it was just the way he did it. He just kept taking the heart from the Steelers. Whenever they thought they had something, no, I'm going to assert myself.
Yeah.
You know, with the Steelers, that defense looked tired. The defense looked tired, and that offense is something's wrong with that offense.
And the way we kind of said it last week, I'll jump to the Steelers defense first. The Steelers' strength on defense is their rush defense.
Yep.
Their run defense. Bills don't run the ball. And they choose not to, really. I mean, they ran the ball well last week. But this week, they were just like, okay, you want to be good at run defense? We just won't run the ball. You can load the box. We'll show that we're going to run the ball. Hit a play action. Josh Allen hit Stephon Diggs down the field. Cole Beasley. The gambit of receivers that they have. Just the absolute monstrosities of talent they have on that side of the ball. And we'll make you have to stay back. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't do anything. They didn't have Bud Dupree, I'm pretty sure. He was out.
He's out for the season.
And that's a big key on that pass defense because he's a good pass rusher too.
Mm-hmm.
But Josh Allen's a quick boy.
Yep.
He's gonna make you miss.
Yep.
And the Steelers have shown that they're gonna have a hard time stopping.
This is the game in a nutshell. 3rd down conversion percentage. Buffalo 50%. Pittsburgh 10.
The Steelers' offense.
We don't need to say anything more than that.
The Steelers' offense is worrisome.
Yep.
They can't. Ben is having a hard time distributing the ball.
They don't run the football.
And they don't run. I don't know why they don't. I don't know why they don't. Just hand the ball.
James Conner.
Call dive.
James Conner isn't that guy, though.
I've called better games in Madden. Just run the ball. Because James Conner, he might not be that guy, but he's not Le'Veon Bell, and he's not.
And you got to keep him honest. I know what you're saying. You got to keep the teams honest.
You got to just run it, dude. Because if they know you're going to pass the whole time, Sean McDermott's not a pushover. He's going to call the right plays to make you do something good, make you do something like a little more creative than what you're doing, which is his offense is feeling a lot like the Bucs a little bit, to be honest, where they have this plan and they're not doing anything.
Nope.
It's falling flat on its face, and
they need to stop dropping footballs. They drop so many passes. Catch the damn football.
Yep.
You get paid to have a ball hit you in the hands and you grab it. Catch the damn football. Like, damn.
And Sean McDermott is doing a good job.
Yes, he is.
He knows he doesn't have that much talent on defense.
He's making the most of it, though.
He is making the
most. And I love it.
Yep.
I love it. But let's go to the last game.
Yeah, Ravens-Browns. This was a doozy of a game.
I picked
the Browns.
I picked the Browns as well.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I don't regret it.
I don't either.
Like that. This was a tale of two teams.
This was such a good game.
This is a tale of two teams who really, really wanted to win the football game.
Yep.
The Ravens played really well. The Browns played really well. The Ravens just put up, I believe, 2 more field goals.
Yeah.
And the Browns, they both scored the same amount of touchdowns. 6. They scored 6 touchdowns in this game.
It's ridiculous.
Baker was lights out.
Oh.
Played absolutely phenomenally. Lamar Jackson played to his strengths, ran the ball. And this is what the Ravens need to do.
That rushing attack was nasty for the Ravens. For both teams, actually.
Do what works. And I don't like how the Ravens only had, Lamar Jackson really only threw the ball 4 times in the first half.
Yeah.
Which is a little discouraging, but towards the end of the game, he really started making it work a little better.
I mean, he only had 17 attempts. And that's my thing, right? I'll say this, because I don't think this game was a really fun game, but I don't feel like there's that much to talk about per se. I think it comes down to a couple of things. We know Lamar Jackson can run. Mm-hmm. He is very dangerous with his legs. We know that. I mean, it shows in the stats.
Yeah.
9 attempts for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a 13.8 yard per carry average. That's gross.
It's gross.
But what do you do with your arm?
Mm-hmm.
I need you to throw the football. Yeah. And the thing about it was 11 for 17, 163 yards, and 45 of those yards were a cheap, little lob to Marquise Brown for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it really was about 120 yards with no touchdowns if it wasn't for that.
And 2 of those incompletions in the first half, by the way,
were drops.
Dropped by Marquise Brown.
He needs to catch the
Absolutely.
damn
He
football
needs to catch
too.
the football. Absolutely. You better call up the cousin because he's got to help you catch football.
That's my thing. Lamar, what are you gonna do with your arm? Because it's the same thing every year. What are you gonna do with your arm? I need you to throw the ball more effectively. Because if there's not a threat for you to throw the football, the run game doesn't work.
Yep. The Browns defense consistently against the Ravens doesn't know. They don't know how to stop the Ravens offense.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to stop that formula. I think if you see them versus each other again in the playoffs, you might see a different result.
Sure.
And I think Kevin Stefanski's not pushover either. This is his first season as Browns head coach. So I think him seeing the Ravens twice, lay the goose egg week 1, fine. Fair. This week, it was real tight.
Yeah.
He still gave up 47 points. So what are you going to do to remedy that defense against the Ravens? Because you need to make that. You can't give up 47 points.
Nope.
You can't give up 47 points. Baker Mayfield did everything right this game. I think he had 1 pick.
1 pick, yeah.
But 1 pick, you're not going to kill a guy over. That's
No.
1 throw, if we really think about it. He did everything right. The running game did everything right. Even that pass rush got to Lamar Jackson
It
a
did.
decent amount of times.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't really contain him, but at least they got there.
Right, exactly. They got there a few times, but that defense needs to figure something out on the back end. It really just comes down to people not filling their lanes. When you give up that many rush yards, it's people not filling lanes.
And actually, let me say this, because I literally just saw it on film. Actually, that interception was pretty big.
Okay.
Because that interception got them down to the 2-yard line, which then turned into a touchdown. So if he doesn't throw that, they win the game.
That's fair.
So, but I agree with you. It was just in that instance, it actually was a big deal.
It was bad. It was bad timing.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I think to a point.
But you can live with that though.
Right.
Based off general performance, you can live with that. I'll say this, and I think we can close on this. This was high quality football.
Oh my God, it was so
This was such a good game.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because this is what I expect the playoffs to look like every game. And if we get that, oh my, we might have to have some Super Bowl, like some playoff super specials or something where I get everybody over here and because those wild card games, there's gonna be like 4 games on the day.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
We might have to do something with that.
A lot of fun.
But yeah, alrighty guys, that was it for the Week 14 recap. That was a lot of fun. I feel like we're getting better at this every time we do it.
That was a good one.
Starting to get real smooth, starting to really flow. And we will see you guys on Thursday where we go over our Week 14 picks, and then we'll go into our Week 15 picks, and we'll see who won the week, and we'll see how we did, how we do for the next week. But until next time, we'll see you guys later.